Salutations, I am Gwen, the ghostess with the mostess, and as your hostess, I bring you The Asylum from the anonymously authored and video narratives OK tags on creepypasta.com. Far beyond the reaches of our Earth, amongst the eternal aether of the cosmos, last beings of true power and magnitude who lay beyond the comprehension of our minds. Beings that shape and warp the fabric of space and distort the reality in which we live. To gaze upon their eyes is to gaze upon the eyes of infinity. To describe their figures, to describe the universe. To witness their power is to witness the power of the cosmos. I was once but only a young man when I was first stricken with the devilish fear that had previously claimed my family. I was to be considered lucky, as the great plague of bloodletting did not bring about my end. It was only the insanity and fear of the cosmos that came with it that ailed me, and the insanity ails me to this very day. To my kin, the true fear and pain of the plague, what would be their end? My mother was the first to go. She had sliced her wrists in a fit of hysterical madness, while my sister and I were away at school. It was my father who found her, falling to her body in a futile struggle, that some divine interaction would bring them back together. As it turned out, that divine interaction would simply be the contract of my mother's tainted blood. On the night that my father expired, the swelling of blood to his brain caused what I had first believed to be delusion, visions of great cosmic and ethereal horrors, fearing their awesome power over the mind of man. He took to the blade, ending his life face down a pool of plagued blood. My sister was awoken by his fit of insanity and treaded barefoot into his room. But before the light of her candle could illuminate the void of the room, her feet felt the blood, and she knew. I was the only one who could care for my sister, as we had no other family. Having turned 14 the month prior, my sister was a small, frail child who could be frightened merely by the sight of her own shadow. She did not last as long as mother or father, who fought the plague for nearly a week. My sister hardly lasted beyond the third day, and a part of me wishes I never witnessed the fourth. I shall refrain from describing how my sister passed, as the brutality and gore of the event left me in such fragile mind that I was admitted to the Providence Asylum of the insane. It was here where I first began to experience the true nature of the universe and its unforgiving forces. As I mentioned, I was stricken with fits of madness and insanity, but not by the plague. If such were the case, I believe this manuscript would not be here to unleash the knowledge of horrors that it holds. It was during the first month of my admittance into the hospital that I met an artist by the name of Joseph P. Wilcox. I never learned the reason that Joseph, too, was admitted to the hospital. Only that he felt the need to be there to protect someone, be it himself or family. He was a tall, skinny fellow, a neatly cut head of brown hair, and a pair of delicate blue eyes. His hands were soft and slender, like that of a woman, a clear sign that he preferred the intellectual arts of painting and clay sculpting over the more physical manual labors of other young men his age. We became quick friends, realizing that we were of the more stable bunch within the hospital. Joseph would tell me stories of life in the small village outside of Providence, whose name escapes my thought, and would often gift me small sketches to decorate the drab and numbing room in which I stayed. I would tell the stories of working in the family shop behind the counter to help reach the jars of sweets that neither my mother or sister could reach, or the kind old woman who often came to purchase candies and soap, and how she would always find my youthful exuberance a charming quality I should not let go of so easily. 'Twas the night of March 8th when Joseph entered my room, his footsteps slow and monotonous as he crept to my bedside. I did not hear him enter. I only felt as he laid one of his feminine hands on my arm and shook me. When I awoke to see him standing over me, I shot up, frightened by the scarred and blood-stained face that stood before me. In his madness, Joseph had crafted a shiv from his bed frame and carved queer sigils along his face and arms. His eyes were bloodshot and his mouth curled into a sinister smile. He placed the shiv on my lap and laid his hand on my shoulder, whispering some terrible mantra into my ear. His hand drifted to the shiv, and he beckoned me to join him in a paradise lost a millennium ago. Blood drained from my face, and I felt my arms grow cold as I witnessed a wretched abyss manifest beyond him. What seemed like that which is beyond the normal world. A rush of hatred and anger overtook me as I plunged the shiv into his gut. Gargled and raspy voice of my once friend slowly fading as he fell limp on the molded and rotting floor. Fear overtook, as I was too terrified to remove my eyes off the body before me. When I finally broke the trance and looked up, the asylum of which I was confined had warped and twisted into a vista of blackened skies and gray earth below me. Above the vast purgatory that I stood floated a being that still haunts me in my thoughts and memories of it, and maddens me in my dreams of it. Swirling, churning, gurgling, writhing like a mass of blackened earthworms and a rotting corpse, was the Daemon Sultan, who so repugnantly controlled the skies and cosmos as one. I was among a land of predators, and I was not worthy enough to even be thought of as prey. I felt as the frail mind of mine shattered, my eyes rotting from the sight of such an outraged child of some man once forever now. The wardens on Joseph's body in the sheriff under my cot. And there was no fighting what was already apparent. The horrors that I witnessed remain with me, and from my body shall soon convulse in the nearest place around my wretched throat by the hangman. So too shall the horrors assault me in death, for earth is not our home. Our earth is merely an asylum of the fragile-minded, who are too weak to gaze upon the awesome terror and power of the universe. And there you have it. I like that one. That was actually a rather decent descent into madness. I would I like that author. I think that author did a very good job. It felt inspired by Lovecraft. And you know, it was pretty good. It was supernatural, spooky things, and humans seeing that which they can't comprehend and going nuts and dying, and you know, it was fun.